All right, so we're out here in the shed today. I wanted to show you a little bit of this mixing station behind me that we rigged up for mixing chemical into our sprayer or into our truck. It makes it a lot easier for us to mix chemical without having to climb up on top of the truck or having to use pumps to pump in our chemical out of these IBC totes up here. So I'm going to give you a quick little overview of what our mix system looks like and how we use this. So this is how we fill our water. We've got our water well here on a timer, so we know it'll do about 750 gallon in 30 minutes. Got a meter so we can tell how much we're going in. So we're mixing basically 1,500 total with all the chemical and everything on this one. So we're just pumping here. We use this to pump the cattle water as well, but it's got valves down in the ground. So we're gonna go about 1,450 on this. Well, we'll pump our water in first, and then we'll go move over to the shed to mix everything else. All right, we just got to our 1,450. We'll close the valve. I also might make a note that we've got a check valve here on this so that whenever this water is flowing in from this well, if that thing shuts off, in the middle and we're not right here, that check valve keeps that water from flowing back into the well and contaminating the well. So that's what that check valve is there for. All right, so here's our mix station. I already have the water on because I was mixing earlier. So I pull our 1.5-inch hose here off the shed. Back that up. All right, and then open both of our valves. So we've got two inlets. This inlet is to pull through the pump if we're pumping out fertilizer out of a bulk tank or something. This one just goes straight up here and straight in. That valve's closed, so it just goes straight into the tank up there. So that's the one we use here. Okay, so here's our mix system. We've got a 60-gallon cone bottom that we can basically use to dump in any chemicals. I'd like to eventually get a chem knife for this or something that we can put in there to rinse bottles out automatically, but haven't got there yet. I've got water out here that's plumbed in, just got a two-way valve. So we've got, a garden hose out here. It's plumbed into the side of the shed, and then this 1.5 inch is plumbed in so we can put it onto our truck and blow chemical directly into the truck. So we fill water over at the water pump in the truck, and then we can come over here and mix the chemical. Eventually, my plan is to put like a 1,500-gallon tank out here and plumb it in so we can pump everything through this and just pump water, just have a float so it keeps that full on that tank. But coming back inside, this is where that 1.5 inch goes out on the outside, and then that 3/4 inch hose is where the water comes in. I've got this hose going up that goes up to one of those IBC totes up there. At one point on these IBC totes, I had just an empty one up there that had just rinse water in it, and that's how I'd fill my rinse water. So that's what that valve's for. This water runs over here, runs up to a hand sprayer so you can spray down inside the tank. Jug rinse right here for rinsing out jugs. And then this one is to fill this tank or to wash it down, kind of washes it down like a toilet bowl. And then we've got a valve on the bottom of that, which goes directly over to the pump. We've got our IBC totes up here, generic Roundup, generic Liberty, generic Dicamba. And those are all piped down here. So we've got our meter on the side, which is not exactly accurate, but it's good enough for the way we do it. And then we can measure in jugs or whatever else. If we're doing a little bit, we can measure in a measuring cup. And then we've got these valves that are plumbed directly into this. So we just dump it in there, measure out how much it is. We can rinse it right down and pump it directly in. We've got our ammonium sulfate over here, and just a place to get rid of boxes and jugs after we rinse them all down. Of course, don't want to forget personal protective equipment over here. Whenever we're doing this, try to wear our goggles and our gloves. Then I've just got our light here on this switch, and this big 2-pole switch is what I use to run this motor. This is a 2-inch banjo pump, and we had a 3/4 horse motor on this, and it would just pull it down and trip the thermal overloads too much. So we just put this 3-horse motor on it, spins it up a lot quicker, and we've got it on 220 now, run directly to the box. So this is just a 2-pole switch we use to kick that on, pumps it right out. We had a little trouble with it wanting to swirl as it was pulling it down. So you can see that that plug down there is just like a 2-inch pipe plug because it was threaded there, and I drilled a few holes on it on each side. I think there's 3 on each side, so 6 holes total, and it helps it not quite swirl as bad. It still does a little bit, but I played with a couple different versions. This one with 4 holes, it still swirled pretty bad. That just screws into that. So I haven't quite figured that out yet. I think what I'm going to try to do is make a dam in there to where it won't let it swirl around near as bad, and try to come up with something for that. But we can dump our AMS in here, we can dump our chemical in here, we can measure out, we can run gravity out of these IBC totes. This works really great for us. You don't have to carry these bags up on top of the truck. You can rinse it right down in there. The pump pulls it right through. It's all electric and pumps it right into the truck or into the sprayer. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more of an idea of how we built this mix bay area. We just built it out of wood ourselves, you know, heavy enough to hold these IBC totes whenever they're full. 265 gallon of chemical is a lot of chemical to, a lot of weight to hold up there. But we just built that ourselves, kind of rigged it up. This works really great for us because we're fairly close to home with all of our spraying, so we can either mix the loads hot in the sprayer or in the truck and just pump them into the sprayer. I looked online whenever we were doing this, trying to find a little more information on how to build something like this into a home shed, and I just never did find very much information. So I decided I would make this, and hopefully this helps somebody else down the road.